70 years after Elvis first stepped into Sun's studio for the first time, a startling new revelation has come to light that will blow the minds of every Elvis fan around the world. For years, there has been a long-standing debate over who deserves the credit for discovering Elvis Presley. Back in 1954, Sam Phillips, the owner of Sun Records and Presley's record producer, or Marion Keisker, Sam's assistant at the studio. While doing research for her 2023 book, Fact vs. Fiction in the 2022 Elvis movie, author Trina Young came across a surprising and shocking fact that has been overlooked for decades by Elvis historians. In researching Presley's early years, she acquired a copy of the 1956 magazine called Elvis Presley Speaks. It is a 66-page magazine, entirely filled with exclusive photos and stories about Elvis. It was written by reporter Robert Johnson, who worked for the Memphis Press Scimitar. He did an extensive interview with Elvis for this magazine, and had photographer Robert Williams follow Elvis around his hometown of Memphis during the summer of 1956. The magazine was released on August 9, 1956, and almost immediately sold out of its first printing. It was an unfiltered look at Elvis, right when he was on the verge of becoming a superstar. In the magazine, there were some great photos of Elvis at his home on Audubon Drive in Memphis, and pictures with his Memphis girlfriend, Barbara Hearn. There was also a photo of Elvis attending the African American Night at the Memphis Fairgrounds, an event in which the consequences of Presley's attendance were falsely over-exaggerated in the 2022 Elvis movie. But stop the presses. Right in plain sight on pages 8 and 9 was a shocking revelation. Elvis Presley Speaks mentioned yet another person who may have had a hand in Presley's fate. The first time Elvis came to the Sun studio to record, it just so happens that a sailor and his mother were in the studio at the same time. As she was sitting in the reception area and heard Elvis recording his 2 songs, the sailor's mother said this:
"Listen to the boy sing. My. He has a sweet voice."
This random eyewitness to Elvis Presley's first personal recording session would make a huge difference in his life 12 months later. It is true that Marion was the one who first recorded 18-year-old Elvis. In July 1953, Presley, who had just graduated high school a month earlier, came in on his own and paid to make 2 recordings of the ballads, My Happiness and That's When Your Heartaches Begin. He also asked Marion if they were looking to hire a singer. Marion made a note for her files with Presley's phone number that said, Elvis Presley. Good ballad singer. Save this.
One day, a very strange-looking young man with sideburns came in and said he wanted to make a record for his mother. I believe he said for his mother's birthday. Sam wasn't there at the time, so I decided to cut the record for him myself. Partway through the first side, I began to get these very strange reactions to his voice and his manner of singing, and I did something that normally we never did. I reached out and started the tape recorder so that I could get a part of one of the songs so that Sam could hear it later when he came back.
6 months later, Elvis came to the studio again and paid to record 2 more songs in January 1954. The songs were It Wouldn't Be the Same Without You and I'll Never Stand in Your Way. This time, Sam Phillips was there, not Marion, and ironically, made the same note to himself, Elvis Presley. Good ballad singer. Save this. Finally, in June 1954, Sam Phillips had listened to the demo of a new ballad called Without You. He wanted to release the song, but could not find who the original singer on the demo was. The story goes that Marion urged Sam to consider Elvis.
And actually, the breakthrough for Elvis and for all of those the things that happened was one very rainy Saturday afternoon when just Sam and I were there, and Sam decided to tackle a huge stack of demo records that various persons sent in, and immediately I said, "What about the kid with the sideburns?" And Sam said, "Oh yeah, he might, but I don't remember his name. I don't know how to get in touch with him." And I said, picking up my bladder, "I do."
However, Robert Johnson reported in the Elvis Presley Speaks magazine that both Marion and Sam had forgotten about Elvis by June 1954, when they were looking for a singer to record Without You.
Despite their good intentions and their save-it notes filed away, Elvis didn't enter their minds as they mulled over possibilities. Then, just by chance, Mrs. Keisker bumped on the street into the sailor's mother, who had been present and remarked how sweetly Elvis sang so many months ago.
Whatever happened to that boy?
The sailor's mother asked Mrs. Keisker. Mrs. Keisker went back to the studio and asked Phillips, "Remember Elvis Presley?" "Yeah," said Sam, musing. "Yes, indeed, get him on the phone."
On June 26, 1954, Elvis came in to record the song. Even with Elvis's experience of recording 4 ballads previously at the studio on his own, Phillips was not happy with Presley's rendition of the song. However, Sam decided to give Elvis another try, asking guitarist Scotty Moore to see what he thought of Elvis. With Scotty's approval, Elvis was then called in again to the studio on July 5, 1954 to have another audition, which is when Elvis Presley's first single, That's All Right, was recorded. Surprisingly, after all these years, perhaps the most significant catalyst in Elvis Presley's story has finally been revealed. A seemingly insignificant detail, that either has been overlooked or omitted by previous historians, has now come to light. No one knows the sailor's mother's name, or what she looked like. But maybe after all is said and done, the sailor's mom, whose identity is forever lost in history, should get the accolades for discovering Elvis. As Robert Johnson wrote in 1956,
To her, Elvis owes a lasting debt of gratitude.
Could this shocking story be true? There's no reason to believe that reporter Robert Johnson, who was friends with Elvis, would have made this up. Marion Keisker would have been the one who told him this story. It is definitely feasible that this happened, since it was common for other people to be in the waiting room at Sun Studio. As author Peter Gerolnik wrote,
Sometimes the reception area was jammed, with people waiting to make a record.
We'll never know why Marion left out the details about the sailor's mother from her future accounts of Elvis being discovered at Sun Records. Now we know that it was not just one woman, but 2, who played a vital role in helping Elvis Presley start his career. For more fascinating facts about Elvis, pick up one of Trina Young's 4 books, including her latest, Fact vs. Fiction in the 2022 Elvis movie. And read a free excerpt at elvisbiography.net. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like the video to help this channel keep growing. And please subscribe and ring the bell to get notifications of future Elvis videos.